Picture this. It is after midnight, and the city is alive in ways most will never see. Streetlights cast long, trembling shadows across cracked sidewalks. Neon signs flicker and buzz, their reflections rippling in rain-soaked gutters. A gentle breeze carries the distant hum of traffic, punctuated by a sudden shout or a burst of laughter from an alleyway, half hidden from view. This is the world of the whispering shadows, the urban stage where stories unfold, secrets linger, and every corner holds the promise of discovery or danger. The city is never just a backdrop. It is a living, breathing entity, shaped by the people who inhabit it and the histories it conceals. Towering skyscrapers, their glass facades mirroring the city lights, stand in stark contrast to the older brick buildings below. The walls of these buildings are covered in layers of graffiti, a silent conversation stretching across decades. Each tag, each mural, whispers its own story, contributing to a history written not in books, but in spray paint and ink. But the true character of this world reveals itself not in the bright glare of day, but in the subtle interplay of light and shadow after dark. Shadows slip across the pavement, pooling in doorways and stretching along alleyways, blurring the boundaries between what is visible and what is hidden. Here, the seemingly mundane, a half-closed metal shutter, a flickering street lamp, a distant siren, takes on a new and potent significance. The city's architecture becomes a labyrinth of possibilities, narrow passageways, hidden courtyards, and forgotten stairways. Each space becomes a stage for unseen dramas and unsolved mysteries. Take the New York City of the 1970s. Urban decay had shrouded entire neighborhoods in neglect, yet these same streets birthed vibrant subcultures, graffiti artists, breakdancers, and underground poets who transformed the city's shadows into canvases for creativity and rebellion. Or think of Tokyo's Shibuya district, where the collision of old and new architecture creates a kaleidoscope of light and shadow, and where the chaos of the day gives way to a quieter, almost cinematic nocturnal world. The whispering shadows don't just hide things, they invite our curiosity. They challenge us to look closer, to wonder what stories might be concealed behind a dimly lit window or down a silent, empty street. On this urban stage, every shadow is both a veil and an invitation, a reminder that the city's greatest secrets are often found not in the spotlight, but in the quiet, shifting spaces where light and darkness meet. But what about the story that hides nothing because there was never anything to hide? Let us now dive into the heart of a very different kind of mystery, the legend that, in reality, never truly existed. In the study of folklore, this is known as a phantom legend. It is a tale that is widely believed, frequently retold, and often cited as fact, yet when we dig for its origins, we find nothing. No credible source, no documented evidence, and sometimes not even a definitive version of the story. This is the tale that never was, and its power can be just as fascinating as any legend grounded in truth. You might hear a story, perhaps from a friend, about a ghostly hitchhiker who haunts a stretch of highway just outside your town. As the tale goes, drivers pick up a young woman in distress, only for her to vanish from the back seat before they reach her destination. It's always told as if it happened to a cousin's friend or someone in the next town over. But when folklorists try to trace the story back to its source, they hit a wall. There is no first person who ever claimed it happened, no police reports, no names, no dates. The story is everywhere and nowhere at all. This is the very essence of a phantom legend. One of the most famous examples is the Polybius arcade machine. The legend says that in the early 1980s, a mysterious video game cabinet appeared in arcades in Portland, Oregon. Players who tried the game supposedly experienced intense psychological effects, seizures, amnesia, nightmares, and a powerful, haunting addiction. Men in black were said to service the machines, collecting data for some secret government experiment. The story caught fire in the early days of the internet. People claimed they remembered seeing the machine or knew someone who had fallen victim to its strange power. But here is the twist. Not a single credible record of the Polybius machine has ever surfaced. There are no photographs, no contemporary news reports, and no confirmed witnesses. Just a tangled, self-perpetuating web of rumors and retellings. Phantom legends like these are not confined to the distant past. They thrive in our modern age, amplified by the speed and reach of the internet. Consider the story of Slender Man. Born from an online forum as a creepy, manipulated image and a short fictional caption, Slender Man quickly grew into a modern myth. Countless people began sharing fabricated experiences and sightings online. But unlike ancient legends that evolved over centuries, Slender Man's creation happened in plain sight. Still, it has been retold so often and with such conviction that for many it feels as if it has always been lurking at the edge of our collective imagination. What makes these phantom legends so captivating is their ability to fill the gaps in our understanding with mystery and excitement. They tap into our deepest fears, our hopes, and our boundless curiosity. With each retelling, they gain new details, becoming richer and more believable despite the complete absence of any real foundation. In the world of folklore, the tale that never was can sometimes be the most enduring of all. So, how does a story with no origin become so real in our minds? Urban legends do not simply appear fully formed.
They grow, they morph, and they spread through a fascinating process of repetition and elaboration. Think of them like a story told around a campfire. Every retelling brings a slight twist, a new detail, or a dramatic embellishment, shaping the tale into something bigger, scarier, or more believable. First, there's the power of the echo. When a story is repeated, whether whispered in a hallway, posted on social media, or told by a friend of a friend, it gains an illusion of credibility. Psychologists call this the illusory truth effect. The more we hear something, the more likely we are to believe it, even if it is factually baseless. Urban legends thrive on this very human trait. The old legend of razors and Halloween candy, for instance, first appeared in the 1970s, spread by news reports and concerned parents. Each retelling added a new, terrifying detail. Sometimes it was needles, sometimes poison, sometimes a shadowy stranger. The truth was that almost no verified cases existed, but the constant repetition made the threat feel undeniably real. Next, embellishments give these stories their staying power. Storytellers add their own flair, a touch of local color, a dash of personal experience, or a dramatic twist. Maybe the haunted hitchhiker now wears a prom dress from a local high school, or leaves behind a scarf that can be traced to a nearby town. These unique details make the story more compelling and harder to dismiss. Take the legend of alligators in the sewer. It began as unsubstantiated newspaper reports in New York City in the 1930s, then grew with every retelling. Suddenly, the alligators were enormous, albino, and thriving in a subterranean world, lurking just below our feet. The story became personal. Cultural context also plays a crucial role. People often adapt the core of a story to reflect local anxieties or moral lessons.
In Japan, legends of the Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman, echo fears of strangers and changing social norms. In the United States, tales of poison treats or killer clowns tap into deeper worries about trust, safety, and the unknown lurking within our own communities. These stories stick because they address real fears in exaggerated, memorable ways. And now, social media has supercharged this entire process. What once took years to circulate now spreads across the globe in hours. Photos, doctored videos, and urban legend fact sheets bounce from inbox to inbox, forum to forum. Modern legends like Momo or Slender Man gain global traction, morphing with every share, comment, and meme. Ultimately, urban legends take root because they tap into universal human habits. Our love of storytelling, our tendency to repeat what we hear, and our deep-seated urge to make sense of a chaotic world. By echoing familiar fears and embellishing them with vivid details, these stories become anchors in our cultural memory, passed down, dressed up, and believed, even when the facts say otherwise. Phantom legends are born from an absence of proof. But there is another kind of deception, one built not on whispers, but on carefully crafted lies, fabricated evidence. Throughout history, false testimonies and forged artifacts have been conjured to support dubious claims, sway public opinion, or even rewrite history itself. These are not harmless tall tales. They can change the course of events, ruin reputations, and mislead entire generations. Consider the infamous Piltdown Man. In 1912, an amateur archaeologist named Charles Dawson announced a groundbreaking discovery in Sussex, England: fossilized remains that appeared to be the missing link between apes and humans. For decades, textbooks featured Piltdown Man as a cornerstone of human evolution. But in 1953, new scientific analysis revealed the shocking truth. The skull was a masterful forgery, combining the bones of a medieval human and an orangutan, artfully stained to look ancient. This elaborate hoax misled scholars for over 40 years. False testimonies have also shaped public perception and policy. In 1990, as the world debated intervention in the Gulf War, a young Kuwaiti woman known only as Naira testified before the United States Congress. Through tears, she described seeing Iraqi soldiers remove hundreds of babies from incubators, leaving them to die. Her story was broadcast worldwide and helped galvanize support for war. But it was later revealed that Naira was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador, and her testimony was orchestrated by a public relations firm. There was no evidence to support her claims, and an international policy was shaped, in part, by a story that never happened. Artifacts, too, can be created to deceive. In 2002, the James ossuary made headlines. This ancient limestone box, inscribed with the words "James, son of Joseph, brother of Jesus," was hailed as the first physical evidence of Jesus Christ's existence. But experts soon questioned the inscription. After years of analysis, the consensus emerged. While the box itself was ancient, the crucial part of the inscription had been forged in modern times. Today, technology has made creating convincing fake evidence easier than ever. Deepfake videos and AI-generated audio can simulate real people saying or doing things they never did. As these techniques become more sophisticated, separating fact from fiction will require even greater vigilance. From Piltdown Man to deepfakes, the creation of false evidence is a powerful lesson in skepticism. It reminds us how easily our beliefs can be manipulated, and that we must always question the source, the evidence, and the motives behind any extraordinary claim. These deliberate hoaxes prey on our desire to believe. But that desire was planted in us long ago, through stories with a very different purpose. If you look closely, many of the most enduring tales in history are more than just entertainment. They are blueprints for how to live. They are filled with unwritten rules, moral lessons, and subtle warnings that have quietly shaped our sense of right and wrong for millennia. Take Aesop's fables. In The Boy Who Cried Wolf, a shepherd's repeated lies lead to disaster when no one believes him in his moment of real need. The lesson is woven into the very fabric of the narrative. Trust, once lost, is nearly impossible to regain. The story shows us the consequences of dishonesty in a way that a simple command, "Do not lie," never could. Classic fairy tales are packed with similar warnings. Little Red Riding Hood is not just a story about a girl and a wolf. It is a cautionary tale about the dangers of straying from the path and trusting charming strangers. The wolf's cunning represents real-world threats, and Red Riding Hood's fate serves as a stark reminder that choices have consequences. But not all unwritten rules are about avoiding danger. Some stories highlight the virtues we should aspire to. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, a traveler helps a wounded stranger despite their deep cultural differences. The story quietly champions empathy and kindness, showing us that our shared humanity is more important than the divisions between us. Through the Samaritan's simple act of compassion, we learn a profound lesson about our duty to one another. Even modern stories carry these hidden codes. In the Harry Potter series, loyalty, bravery, and standing up for what is right are constant recurring themes. Characters who break rules for selfish reasons often face dire consequences, while those who break them to protect others are celebrated for their moral courage. The unspoken message is clear. Sometimes, right and wrong are more complex than the written rules.
These stories also warn us against hubris, the destructive nature of excessive pride. In the Greek myth of Icarus, a young man ignores his father's warning and flies too close to the sun. His wax wings melt, and he plummets into the sea. The takeaway is timeless. Respect your limits, listen to wisdom, and do not let ambition cloud your judgment. Through these tales, the unwritten rules become clear. Honesty matters, kindness counts, and humility is vital. By embedding these lessons in memorable narratives, societies have passed on wisdom from one generation to the next. These are the invisible threads that bind communities together, guiding us even when we do not realize it. And so we return to the shadows, to the liminal spaces between fact and fiction where urban mythology is born. These tales, ranging from the chilling to the whimsical, reveal as much about our modern anxieties and hopes as they do about the cities we inhabit. They persist because they serve a purpose, reflecting the soul of the society that tells them. Consider again the alligators in the sewers. While no vast colony has ever been found, the tale endures. It's not just about a fear of what lurks beneath our feet. It is a modern fable about the consequences of our disposable culture, a warning that what we carelessly discard may one day return to haunt us. The Vanishing Hitchhiker, a story told on lonely roads across the world, reflects our anxieties about trust and vulnerability in an increasingly transient society. It speaks to the fear of the unknown and the brief, mysterious connections we make with strangers on life's journey. Technology has given these legends a new and fertile playground. The internet is a modern-day campfire around which digital myths like Slender Man are born. Unlike older myths, these tales can evolve in real time, their viral nature blurring the line between storyteller and audience, sometimes with serious real-world consequences.
But urban myths are not always dark. Countless cities have stories of a phantom benefactor, a mysterious stranger who pays off a family's debts, leaves gifts for the needy, or intervenes to save someone from danger. These uplifting tales speak to a universal desire for hope and unexpected kindness, especially in urban environments that can often feel impersonal and isolating. To truly understand urban mythology, we must ask not whether a story is true, but why it resonates. Each myth, whether born of fear, humor, or hope, reveals a facet of our collective psyche. They are living testaments to how we process uncertainty, how we form a shared memory, and how we struggle to find meaning in the world. They are the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves in the endless, whispering shadows between truth and tale.